Alrighty, so in this video we're going to be talking about something that I think is going to be pretty insane. Unreal even! In this video I'll be breaking down any news, fan speculation, and theories. So if you are new here and like bays that spin, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. And as well, make sure to check out Mall of Bays. We import from Japan and we are Canadian based. We're going to have a lot of stuff up for sale for the holidays. It is an optional way to support the channel, and I appreciate any and all support regardless. What I found really surprising was the lack of actual new information from the CoroCoro. We did not actually get anything new other than the manga chapter for this month, which honestly, I'm a little bit shocked by. There's no info for the January release. But more surprising is there's no info on Arrow Pegasus, and I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Arrow Pegasus was announced so many months ago, and they just did nothing with it. I assume they're gonna do something where it's a Beyblade bar promotion, and then eventually we get it in Rare Bay, but that's besides the point. I do want to actually talk about the Beyblade X manga chapter because that actually leads into the speculation of talking about left spin Beyblades for this video. The first thing I do want to mention is to please support the official release of Viz Media. They have the official manga translation over the next few days. They also have other mangas there, so please support the official release or even buy the official Beyblade X volumes. But with that being said, I do want to kind of give a little bit of a recap of the latest chapter for basically what happened. So this chapter continues off of the previous one where Team Persona has made their upgrade Emperor Might Beyblade where it can go on all of their bays, and now they're training and practicing with it. What I find really funny is Chrome, because I'm gonna be honest, like the manga is not too strong for what they can reveal sometimes compared to the anime that obviously has a lot more room to expand on the story and writing. So we see that Chrome is, I guess, going through this path that has been going on since the second season. There will be spoilers where I'll be briefly recapping season 2, so I'll either put a timestamp to skip the spoilers or in the description. But basically Chrome in season 2 goes on this path of becoming a demon dragon. He abandons Pendragon and is battling these underground pros, I guess with his ultimate goal to eventually rematch Exu or Jackson. And he's basically through this alleyway where I guess he has like a heart attack and he just collapsed. So I mean, Chrome since that season has been trying his best to surpass Jackson, which the only thing I'm wondering before I even get to what follows through was, did Chrome actually battle Exu in the second season with Impact Drake, or was that all in his head? No, because Exu went for a walk and then he found Chrome. I don't know, that would be insane if like everything that happened, he basically did like almost nothing and he hasn't seen Exu since season 1. I don't think that's the case. If I'm wrong in that's gonna be. Chrome passes out and then a new person finds him doing the same pose as Omega from season 2, claiming to be the strongest and offering him a new bay that is the future bay. So listen, you know, I thought some of Beyblade X's writing was pretty good for some of the character work and whatever, but dude, what? This is a retread of the second season. What are we doing? Eventually, because this is presented by One Chorus, which by the way, One Chorus 2 is presented as this big threat out of the Cross or Chorus 2 family. We'll get into that a little bit later, but basically he has Meteor Dragoon now, and he's gonna be battling, I think it's like 5 Cross, and he has Mummy Curse, and obviously Chrome is going to beat him and win, and then after it's going to continue later on. You know, in terms of that chapter, it just sets up Persona as practicing with their upgrades to prepare against Chrome. I do also believe there's like a small throwaway line where potentially maybe we might see Persona versus Pendragon, which that could be interesting to speculate on future releases, how they could maybe handle that. It could be probably likely that maybe like the first half is going to be the Chorus family, which we're already seeing basically all of the releases be that, and then after maybe there's a Pendragon rematch. Where I do want to kind of lead on to this is Chrome's observation of One Chorus 2, because you immediately see that he's not only acknowledging how powerful he is, but there is a giant dragon over him. So I do want to kind of explain the trend that Beyblade X has been doing through each season for their antagonists. So the main group of bladers will always have like some reference to some generation and have their homage bays. So for example, season 1 with Pendragon, Dragoon, same namesake, Drake is Dragoon, Tiger is Drigger, and then after Dracio and Shell. Season 2, there's Pegasus Blast, Gravity Perseus, Dark Perseus, Hellcurve X, Flame Cerberus. And in Season 3, there's so far just Valkyrie Volt, which we don't actually know confirmed who actually owns that blade. And the other thing to also realize is the typing. The typing for these teams has always been 3 unique types. So Pendragon, attack, defense, balance. Zodiac, attack, defense, stamina. Now, for the burst side, which what I'm assuming, because each main antagonist, they'll own whatever that rare Bay motif is, so Chrome, Dragoon, Omega Shiraboshi, Pegasus, Valkyrie, whomever it could probably be. But since we know, for starters, Valkyrie is definitely probably going to be in the guarantee, what popular motifs could they pick from burst era that we could look at? Now, I also thought since in Season 2, for Beyblade X, they picked the Season 2 Metal Fight motifs, I tried to think for Beyblade Burst what motifs they could pick, and I thought, well, might be stamina and balance, so I thought maybe Spriggan could be, for an example, balance. That'll be a different day for speculation. But I did think this, stamina. Now, stamina, you know, you could do the Ragnarok motif, and it kind of depends on the significance that they want to do. But I think because of the fact that we see a dragon, and since we already know there's at least one attack type that they'll most likely follow the same trend as we've seen in the past, I don't think it could be the left spin Longinus, which was a very powerful left spin attacker. I actually do think it will be the Fafnir motif. And I want to give you like a little bit of a brief history lesson on the Fafnir motif. If you want to talk about iconic motifs in any Beyblade generation, Metal Fight, they'll mostly say Season 2, like Pegasus, Perseus, Curve X, Meteor Dragon, you know, kind of like those are the, and then maybe some 40 stuff. And then after for Beyblade Burst, it's like, what are some of the really iconic? Spriggan for sure, but I also thought Fafnir. And what was so unique about the Fafnir line was that they actually, because in the Metal Fight, they didn't really do too many actual left spins, like there was El Drago. They did do Gravity Perseus, which was dual spin, and we'll give them that, and they tried to market it as defense. And there was Varieris and Ronin Dragoon, but it was done kind of like sparingly. But what Beyblade Burst did is they really did spread it out to the possibilities. So for example, okay, Meteor Drago was like this left spin attacker with rubber, but in reality, does the gimmick actually work? That's like a different story. But Drain Fafnir takes the idea of, oh, okay, you said spin stealing, bet, and turns it into a stamina type, and the gimmick actually makes sense. Yeah, it's going to equalize against the opponent. It needs stamina to win, a left spin stamina type equalizer. And the more that I thought about this, the more that I think this could be the route that they take for Beyblade X. I mean, you already see them paying homage to Meteor El Drago with Meteor Dragoon. So the next logical step, hey, what's another iconic left spin? Drain Fafnir, a left spin stamina type. But for Fafnir, listen, Fafnir had a very big presence in Beyblade Burst. In the original debut of it with Beyblade Burst God, it was a very important stamina type equalizing lair, had a very good presence in the meta, made stamina types very interesting where, hey, it's like not only do I have to spin good against right bays, but I also need to make sure I can counter left bays. Left spin stamina equalizers also make it interesting versus attack, where attack is not going to be so simple. And obviously the cool thing about this is like, hey, if a left spin stamina becomes a little bit too crazy, we're going to need a left spin attacker. So we have Cobalt Dragoon and Meteor Dragoon there. So if there becomes a, let's say, a left spin stamina type problem, there could be something there that we could actually look at. I do also think CX will most likely be what will be chosen for it, mostly because, and this is going to deviate slightly, if you've been paying attention, allegedly a Japan store listing, I don't believe we're actually getting a new actual line for Beyblade X, at least for the early of 2026. So we did get some news on like some new parts, like an overblade or a metal blade or something like that, and it would kind of make sense if they were just trying to expand on the main system and maybe do some unique aspects to them. Okay, how do they execute Fafnir? Now, I do want to give a quick shout out to Shooting Bullets, because Shooting Bullets actually does really great fan animation on their YouTube channel. Please check it out and support them. I'll leave a link in the description below. Please subscribe to them and show them some love. They also have their Twitter page where they do amazing fan creations. And in this video, I will be showcasing a really cool work of Fafnir Taker that they did. So please keep in mind that this is a fan creation and this is not an actual release. So I'm actually going to be following what Shooting Bullets did for their fan concept, because I think they did a pretty good job. I do think, for an example, if you're going to do like a big gimmick advertising day that they usually do, let's say March, there's usually something big and special that they do, and then after in the summertime, like July. And I thought left spin CX, first left spin CX is already like a big advertisement point, but incorporating rubber, which is the most iconic gimmick of Fafnir that you will remember from it. They could either do it for an example where it's integrated into the main blade, where I could think you can make some sense, and you could just have a basic left spin assist blade. But I mean, the other cool thing they could do is also paying homage to the original driver, which is like the bottom part of a Beyblade Burst Beyblade, which it was nothing. It was like basically this cone shape where it actually had a spring lock gimmick. It was pretty cool. I think, until I'm pretty sure I had pretty decent stamina during that time, and I just thought, what's the closest thing they could actually do in Beyblade X? And honestly, I think that Shooting Bolt did a pretty good idea here. We just do like bound orb, you know, any bound version of a ball bit I think would make some sense. And then boom. So first of all, it's like, okay, maybe this guy will have a left dragon Beyblade, and maybe he might have the Fafnir motif. But what exactly would this mean, and what kind of situation would we see in Beyblade X? Similar to what I just mentioned a little bit earlier, I think right now for Beyblade X we're in a very tricky spot where I think the meta is perfectly fine as is. Stamina types are very tricky because something like Clock Mirage is kind of mostly a counterplay blade, and it's kind of hard to play because attack is going to absolutely obliterate and kill it. Wizard Rod is mostly, I would say, generally, at least in my area, it's mostly used on Hexa, not really Ball, because the attackers just kind of nuke it, and attackers are pretty strong. So similar to what I said with Meteor Dragoon, if it could end up being an equalizer, the same would kind of apply here. Just have a left spin where you can probably tank off the attackers and make it a little bit hard to beat, and then after you can maybe use something like a left spin attacker to take it down. You'd have an interesting meta of actually incorporating more of the stamina types. Like imagine, let's say we have a left spin stamina type and it's really dominant. Okay, Clock Mirage finally has some big use here to kill it. Let's just say hypothetically it could. In this very specific type of matchup, I'm just trying to think. Wizard Rod can get used a little bit more in Bolt. So there are more factors and variables to the Beyblade X meta that we can look at. I should also mention that the cool thing about Beyblade X is that even if hypothetically like it was very hard to ratchet burst something like a left spin Beyblade, I should mention this. Bit burst, right? This is a thing that actually happens. You just lift a bit off the ratchet, something like a hover, maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of it for the speculation in this video. I kind of wanted to make it something fun because we don't actually have any news and we're not going to have anything other than maybe like, let's say, Hasbro stuff or whatever. Probably not until like next month in January 2026. So what are your predictions for One Core? Do you think maybe he does own a Longinus motif? How do you think they could execute that? Do you think it'd be maybe a Fafnir motif? What is your speculation for what he could own? It has to be a dragon, right? It has to be some dragon. So it's either that or the other one. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And yeah, that's gonna be kind of it for this video. So I want to say thank you for watching. Take care and bye.